Hey friends, welcome back to Homeschool-ology. If you are a subscriber, welcome back. Thanks for being here. We're getting so close to that 1,000 mark. I have more information about the 1,000 celebration coming up, so make sure you are subscribed and hit that notification bell so you can hear about all of that. There will be a giveaway. If you're not a subscriber and you're new here, welcome. My name is Nikki. I'm a homeschooling mom of 4. I have a 7th grader, a 3rd grader, and then a 5 and 3-year-old who are doing like a combined like pre-K level-ish. Today's video I'm going to be sharing with you my spiral binding up process. This was a requested video from someone down in the comments of a previous video, so I am going to show you today exactly what I use and how I do that. So let's jump in. Okay, so I am going to give you a down view in just a second of like the pieces and the process and what exactly I do. But for now, I'm going to kind of show you a few things. So what you need to do the spiral binding is, of course, things always get stuck together like this. But of course you need binding, spiral binds, and then I found this box that has, it's a box and it has multiple sizes in it, and this box has been perfect. So I will link this box, if it's still available, I will link this box down below because it has had everything that I needed in it so far. So, but that is, you will need those, and you will need back covers or front covers. Unless a lot of people will choose to just laminate the front cover and the back, you know, of a sheet for the back of their spiral binding, which is totally an option. I just like having a back and a, you know, a front cover so that like I can let them decorate their front cover or things like that. So that is what I do. Do not be like me and in your haste to find the best deal, buy a cover or a, you know, the clear cover that is too big for your actual project. So I was on the hunt for the best deal and I picked up the wrong one, which is fine because what I've been doing is just lining it up with the back cover and trimming off the edges and then putting the trimmed off edge onto the spiral side, and it hasn't really caused any issues. So it's not perfect, but it works, and next time I will pay more attention to actually getting the correct size for the covers. So I'm just going to finish cutting this off here real quick. Okay, so the other thing you will need is a binding machine, and I have the, I don't know, Tennessee? I don't know how to say it, but it's T-I-A-N-S-E machine that I got on Amazon Prime Day deal, and I do like this machine. I do think it works well for our purposes. I did get it for a good price, and so I am happy with it. However, it is a very heavy, very bulky, very cumbersome to deal with, and my storage spot that I have for it, I don't have like a counter or anything to leave it on, is in a cabinet, so I have to take the arm off every single time, and that's like not exactly the funnest part. In hindsight, I wish I would have tried the Pro Click, and I'll link that one down below as well. I know a lot of people love it, use it and love it. I had decided to go with this one because I got it for the same price as the Pro Click. It was only $100, and at the time the Pro Click one was only $100. So I got this one because I thought it was going to be a better machine, and it might be a better machine. I've never actually used the Pro Click, but I wish it wasn't so cumbersome. I wish it was a little bit easier to maneuver and things like that. But I do love it, and I do recommend it if you're looking for one and you want one that's got, you know, all these bells and whistles, then definitely this is the one to get. It's great. I'm going to kind of switch you down to a down view and show you my process of how I put all this together. So I have my front and back covers here that I showed you a minute ago, and then I have, oh, this page I'm going to laminate, so I'm going to keep that, set that side of page. And then I have my documents that I'm going to spiral bound. I have 2 right here. This is the Lit House Learning. student workbook and teacher guide that I'm laminating. So we are currently reading A Marty and the Night Brothers with Brave Writer, and I came across this, or somebody was reviewing the Lit House, and so I clicked on the website, and this was the very first thing that showed up, and I was like, oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm going to compare the Brave Writer and this Lit House guides for you guys in a future video once we've used this a little bit. So that will be coming up. Make sure you hit the notification bell if you want to see that. So, like I said, I do have to put the arm on every single time, which is fine. It's not that big of a deal. You just unscrew this screw and pop this little thing on, and then screw the screw back. So, super simple. Not a big deal. It's just I can't store it with this handle because this is at rest. The handle is all the way up, so I obviously can't store it with this handle being sticking straight up. So this page, or this machine, can do up to 10 pages I think at a time. So let me see, it says on here 12 sheets at a time. However, I use really thick paper, so I don't use the standard size paper. I use the next size up, I think 22 weight. So I tend to do like 5 or 6 sheets at a time, and that just works really well. So what you do, let me see if I can turn this towards you so you can see a little bit better. So it has this guide here. You just set the guide to wherever you want it to be. I just have it set to the same thing every single time, and then you're gonna put it in like this, and then you are, let me move this out of the way, and then you just pull down on the handle, and there you go. You have your holes there. So, and then I just repeat the process with the next couple of sheets of paper. Sometimes I count them out, and sometimes I just take a guesstimate, and now that I've been doing it in a while, I kind of know what it's supposed to feel like. So I put it in, and there we go. Alright, so there we go. I have the whole guide done with all the holes, and that guide really, I mean, it really does make it pretty, trying to make sure it stays on the camera, it really does make it pretty even though I'm putting it in different stacks. It still works out really good. So that is all I need this machine for. I do have this one that has a power cord, and this is supposed to help you, like, you turn it on and it spins, and it's supposed to help you move the spiral through the thing. I have yet to get that to work or get that mastered, and it's just not worth my time, so I just don't use that. I'm just gonna put this back in here, and away righty-tighty. Okay, so I'm gonna move this out of the way and show you how I put the spirals in, since I don't use the machine. Oh, FYI, this little piece here is where all the punches go, and then you just take this whole thing out and dump it out. Oh, and you know what I forgot to do now that I took it apart? I forgot to punch the covers. Let me do that real quick. Okay, so now that I have everything punched, my front covers, my back covers, and my book that I'm binding, I'm going to put the back cover on the back, and one of my front covers on the front. So you can see it's all lined up there. And then I'm going to find a binding that I think is the right size. And I bound both of them and realized that my camera had stopped recording. So here we are. I took the binding out of this one so I could show you the process again. But that's how this one is bound over here. So the next, what I was saying before it cut out was I'm going to take my bindings and find one that I think is the right size. So this is kind of just trial and error and just trying to get used to it. They do have like a guide online where it says like the 1/4 inch holds this many pages and that holds this many pages. So you can use that if you want to. I just find it easier to just kind of guess. And I have a lot more small ones because my binding machine actually came with small ones, and the multi-pack came with small ones. So I try to use the small ones as much as I can. Even if it's cutting it close, sometimes I'll still use the small one. So this one, I'm going to try out the small one. Sometimes you can't get one out, you have to take them all out and then put the package back on, which I'll do in a minute. But so we have this spiral binding. You see where it like the spiral points towards you. The end of the spiral points towards you. You're going to take your binding and put the holes away from you. and then you're going to take this binding and stick it through the hole. So this first one can sometimes be challenging, but then you should be able to just kind of spin it around. Sometimes it does get stuck and you kind of have to guide it to those holes, but it does move pretty easily. It's not that hard to do. You just want to make sure you're getting everything in there, including the front cover. Sometimes that front cover likes to slide off. So what I will do is I will go about 1/4 of the way down my binding, 1/4 to 1/3, and I will check to make sure that the binding isn't too small. And the way you do that is you open up your booklet. And if you can see, there's like a little bitty gap here. This is the perfect size for this. So if you want to see that tiny little gap there, if they're touching, sometimes I'll still use the small one if it's touching. That would be okay, but you don't want it to overlap at all. When you open it up, you don't want them to overlap at all. If they overlap, it is too small of a binding. You need to go up a size. So I've checked this. I see that it's going to work good, and so I close this back up. And then I finish pushing my spiral all the way through. My daughter just asked, what if it's too big? So I will go ahead and answer that in case any of you have that question. If it's too big, if there's too much of a space, then I will take it out and go with the smaller one. So you're just trying to get them to where they're, just have a small gap in the middle is the right size. If they're too big, it's not that big of a deal. Too small is a problem, but too big isn't that big of a deal if that's the only one you have. But trying to get it as close to the right size as possible, the gap as small as possible, is the best way to go. So you can see I've kept spiraling until it's sticking out. Let me see if I can put this on here so you can kind of see that better. So you can see the spiral is sticking out on this side and on this side. You need it to stick out on both sides. You can't just stop at the end when you get to the end. You got to keep going so that it sticks out a little bit. And then we are going to use these pliers. So my pliers came with my machine. If you're going to try the Pro Click machine, which I think a regular spiral binding should work with, you need to check the spacing of the punches. But if the spacing of the punches is the same, which I think I checked and it is the same, then you should be able to use regular spirals with your Pro Click machine. But you will need to buy a pair of these pliers, and you can buy them separately on Amazon. I'll link a pair down below, but mine did come with my machine. And you can see, I know my camera doesn't like to focus, but hopefully you can see that there's a dot on one side. There's no dot on this side. There's a dot on one side. We're going to want to make sure that that dot is facing up. That helps to crimp, make sure the end of the spiral gets crimped so that it doesn't unravel as easily. Now, mind you, they still unravel. You're gonna have to keep them, you're gonna have to make sure you check on them and make sure they're not unraveled. But it's not that big of a deal. So anyways, what you're gonna do is you're gonna put the spiral towards you, and you have that little bit hanging off here. You're gonna lay the pliers down so that the dot is facing you, and then hopefully you can see this. I know my camera doesn't focus very well, but I'll try to zoom in. This one is kind of lower than the end of the book, so I'm not going to cut that one. I'm going to go out to this one and cut this one because it's hanging off the book. I've just found after using it, using spiral binding several of these, I bought a package of 50 back covers, and I'm only down to like 3 or 4. So I've done quite a few of these now at this point, and I've just found that this going down to this next one just works better, like keeps it from unraveling as much. So I'm going to put that link between the tips of my pliers, and then I pick up I squeeze so that it holds on, and then I pick up the pliers, and you got to do it kind of fast. Like don't be gentle with it. Snip it really hard. Do it fast, and it will give you this kind of little kinked in there. And again, I hope you can see that. I'm sorry if you can't, but it will give you that little kinked in, and that's supposed to help it from unraveling. So when you've done the one side, you're going to flip it over to the other side and repeat the process. So this one, you can see it's kind of hanging off the end, so I am going to go ahead and do that one there, and then squeeze a little bit, pick up the pliers, and push hard and fast, and that will give you that little kink there, so that will help it from unraveling. And there you go. That's how simple it is to spiral bind with the binder. It really isn't a difficult process at all. Alright, so I hope you guys found that helpful. I will, of course, be linking all of these resources that I have down below that I use and that work great for me. I will, actually, I'll show you how I store it in just a second when I'm going to put it away so that you guys can see that. It's not like the greatest storage system, but it works. But anyways, if you guys have any questions about this or want, you know, like if you need to help with anything, go ahead and comment down below and I'll see how I can help you. And I think I've already mentioned, but I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel while you're down there making those comments. Don't forget you can follow me over on Instagram at Homeschool-ology and connect with me over there. And I think that is all I'm going to share with you guys today. So other than I will show you how I put this away in just a second. And I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.